Do you remember the first time you heard the famous line, "I am the one who knocks"? It was at that moment that many people realized this production was not like the others. But what if I told you that the real change didn't just happen with Walter White? That behind the scenes, each member of this cast lived through a journey as impactful as that of their characters? Some shone brightly, others simply disappeared. And there were those who faced losses, addictions, and were reborn. Now, more than a decade later, you're going to see what time has done to 30 faces that marked a generation. But be warned, this video isn't just a before and after. It talks about memory, identity, and the unpredictable paths of life. Because when it comes to Breaking Bad, even time itself seems to follow a script signed by Vince Gilligan. Bryan Cranston, Walter White, Heisenberg. Bryan Cranston embodied one of the most complex and revered protagonists on TV, Walter White. Before the series, he was remembered for comedic roles, like the father on Malcolm in the Middle, but Breaking Bad changed his career forever. After the show ended, Cranston participated in acclaimed films like Argo, Trumbo, which earned him an Oscar nomination, Godzilla, and Your Honor. At 68 years old, he sports an elegant style with a white beard and a striking voice. He also stands out as a producer and supporter of social causes. To this day, many still call him Heisenberg when they meet him. Aaron Paul, Jesse Pinkman. Aaron Paul played Jesse Pinkman, the impetuous, fragile, and explosive young man who won the hearts of fans. His emotional evolution during the series was profound, earning him 3 Emmys. After Breaking Bad, he starred in El Camino and appeared in series like BoJack Horseman and Westworld. Aaron is married, a father to a daughter, and is involved in humanitarian initiatives. At 45 years old, he maintains a youthful and charismatic appearance. Away from the screens, he is known for his humility and gratitude for everything Jesse has given him. Anna Gunn, Skylar White. Anna Gunn brought Skylar, Walter's wife, to life. A controversial character who divided the audience, but whose strength and depth only increased in the narrative. Her performance earned her 2 Emmys for Best Supporting Actress. After Breaking Bad, she participated in productions such as Grace Point, The Mindy Project, and Deadwood, the movie. Currently, she leads a more reserved life, focused on family and theater. At 56 years old, she carries a mature beauty and an imposing expression. Her interpretation is remembered as a milestone of a multifaceted female character. R.J. Mitte, Walter White Jr. R.J. Mitte, who also lives with cerebral palsy off-screen, brought realism to the role of Walter's son. His performance moved the audience, breaking down barriers about disability in the media. After the end of the series, he participated in productions such as Switched at Birth and became a global speaker in defense of the rights of people with disabilities. In addition to acting, he works as a model and speaker. At 32 years old, he is admired for his overcoming obstacles, simplicity, and inspiring influence. His smile continues to be a personal signature. Dean Norris, Hank Schrader. Dean Norris played Hank, the DEA agent who brought both comic relief and a key point in the story. His strong, ironic, and human presence captivated a multitude of fans. After the series, Norris was in Under the Dome, Claws, and other films, remaining active in the artistic scene. At 61 years old, he retains the same penetrating gaze and solid bearing. He also invests in local businesses and political projects. Hank will always be remembered as the right man at the worst possible time. Betsy Brandt, Marie Schrader. Betsy Brandt was Marie, Walter's sister-in-law and Hank's wife, recognized for her sarcastic humor and peculiar fascination with the color purple. Although she seemed like a supporting character, her participation was vital in moments of tension and empathy. After the finale, Betsy acted in series like Life in Pieces, The Michael J. Fox Show, and Parenthood. Today, at 50 years old, she maintains a refined look and dedicates herself to theater performances. Off-camera, she is known for her joy and focus on family. Marie is missed for her unique style and firm posture. Giancarlo Esposito, Gustavo Fring. Giancarlo Esposito embodied Gus Fring, the most calculating and cold antagonist in history, a true example of subtle yet intense interpretation. His powerful aura made Fring a global television icon. After Breaking Bad, Giancarlo was successful in The Mandalorian, The Boys, Kaleidoscope, and, of course, returned to the role in Better Call Saul. At 66 years old, he preserves the charm, class, and unmistakable expression. He is considered one of the most stylish villains on TV. Away from the spotlight, he is serene and participates in social causes. Jonathan Banks, Mike Ehrmantraut. Jonathan Banks gave life to Mike, the tough and laconic ex-cop, who won fans over with his loyalty and bitter wisdom. His performance was so striking that he gained even more space in Better Call Saul. With a long career in film and TV, Jonathan is an admired veteran. At 77 years old, he continues to be active, maintaining the deep voice and firm countenance that are his trademark. Mike is seen as one of the most profound and moving characters in the saga. His expression of silent pain still touches the hearts of many. David Costabile, Gale Boydicher. David played Gale, the gentle chemist who got involved beyond the limit in the universe of crime. His eccentric and polite manner won over viewers, making his death one of the most tragic in the series. Outside of Breaking Bad, David shone in Billions, Suits, and The Wire, always showing a high level of acting. At 59 years old, he retains a strong charisma and much respect on American TV. He attends events and interviews with affection for fans of the show. Gale was a brief but unforgettable character. Mark Margolis, Hector Salamanca. Mark played Hector, the former leader of the cartel who communicated only through a bell, and even so conveyed dread and intensity. His interpretation was purely physical, with looks and expressions that hypnotized the audience. Margolis also appeared in Better Call Saul, reinforcing Hector's relevance in the plot. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2023 at the age of 83, leaving a legacy of respect and admiration. His departure was felt by colleagues and fans. Hector Salamanca will live on in our memory for his terrifying silence. Luis Moncada, Marco Salamanca, one of the twins. Luis Moncada took on Marco, one of the Salamanca twins, feared for his menacing and silent appearance. He and his brother Daniel gave an almost supernatural quality to the plot. After the series, Luis appeared in Better Call Saul, Mayans MC, and in several action films. Off-screen, he works in community work and is admired for his humility. At 46 years old, he still impresses with his physique and intense gaze. Today, he is recognized for his discipline and professionalism. Daniel Moncada, Lionel Salamanca, the other twin. Daniel Moncada, Luis's brother, played Lionel, the other Salamanca twin. The synergy between the two was one of the most disturbing and striking aspects of the plot. After Breaking Bad, Daniel also returned in Better Call Saul and got involved in side projects alongside his brother. Over time, his appearance has hardly changed. He continues to convey intensity and imposing presence. In addition to acting, he dedicates himself to sports and family life. At 45 years old, he remains remembered as one of the darkest villains on recent TV. Javier Grajeda, Juan Bolsa. Javier embodied Juan Bolsa, one of the heads of the cartel, and a vital piece in the dark negotiations of the story. His calm and authoritative posture brought an atmosphere of danger to the scene. He also reprised the role in Better Call Saul, expanding the character's dimension. Away from the Breaking Bad universe, he has been involved in several Latin series and films. At 68 years old, he sports gray hair and an imposing presence. He is very active on social media and in the Hispanic entertainment community. Ray Campbell, Tyrus Kitt. Ray was Tyrus, Gus Fring's security guard and right-hand man. Silent, precise, and intimidating, he emanated a constant threat even without saying much. After the end, he made an appearance in Better Call Saul and in productions such as The Walking Dead. Ray prefers to maintain discretion, but attends conventions frequently. At 52 years old, he has aged with distinction, preserving the serious and mysterious air. His measured performance is still revered by admirers. Christopher Cousins, Ted Beneke. Christopher gave life to Ted Beneke, Skyler's boss, and the pivot of one of the most tense conflicts in the series. His involvement with her and the fiscal problems brought new layers to the family drama. After Breaking Bad, Christopher acted in Revolution, Bosch, Glee, and other productions. At 63 years old, he sports gray hair and a calm expression. He also works in theater and dubbing. Ted, although the target of antipathy for many, was crucial to show how far Skyler could go. Bob Odenkirk, Saul Goodman. Bob Odenkirk played Saul Goodman, the most eccentric, ironic, and captivating lawyer in history. His interpretation was so impactful that it originated the spin-off Better Call Saul, considered by many to be on the same level as Breaking Bad. Bob had a career in humor before, but established himself as a dramatic actor after this role. In 2021, he suffered a heart attack on set, but recovered, moving the audience. Today, at 61 years old, he is highly respected, with a striking presence and vigorous appearance. Saul has become a cultural phenomenon, and Bob, a contemporary legend. Lavelle Crawford, Huel Babineau. Lavelle Crawford embodied Huel, Saul's fun bodyguard, remembered especially for the scene in which he disappears and never appears again in the main series. Off-screen, Lavelle is a stand-up comedian and has undergone a major transformation by losing more than 110 pounds. He returned in Better Call Saul, reviving Huel with humor and nostalgia. At 55 years old, he has a contagious energy, being loved for his perseverance and positivity. Huel has become a meme, but also a symbol of lightness in the midst of chaos. Bill Burr, Kubi. Bill Burr played Kubi, Huel's partner and executor of the most complicated missions for Saul. Outside of Breaking Bad, Bill was already recognized in stand-up, and his appearance was a gift to fans of sarcastic humor. After that, his popularity grew even more, with the series F is for Family and films like The King of Staten Island. At 55 years old, he maintains the characteristic bald head and fills theaters with his performances. Kubi had a short but striking passage, in the way that only a talented comedian could do. Stephen Michael Quezada, Stephen Gomez. Stephen played Agent Stephen Gomez, Hank's partner and confidant. His loyalty and courage transformed him into a highly esteemed character, mainly for his honorable posture until the end. After the series, he also appeared in Better Call Saul and got involved in local politics in Albuquerque, New Mexico, being elected to the city council. At 61 years old, he exhibits the same friendly air and acts for the benefit of the community. His legacy goes beyond fiction. He is a dedicated defender of Latin culture. Charles Baker, Skinny Pete. Charles Baker gave life to the peculiar Skinny Pete, Jesse's best friend. His laid-back style and a surprisingly faithful heart won over the audience. After the series, Charles appeared in El Camino, The Blacklist, and Better Call Saul. Outside of recordings, he also follows a musical career and participates in independent projects. At 53 years old, he has hardly changed. He maintains the alternative look and a magnetic way. Skinny Pete has become a cult icon, and Charles is much loved for his simplicity. Matt L. Jones, Badger. Matt L. Jones played Badger, Jesse Pinkman's clumsy and funny friend. With his hoarse voice and innocent manner, Badger stole the scene, bringing light moments amidst the tension. After Breaking Bad, Matt went through series like Mom, NCIS, Let's Get Physical, and did voice acting in animations. Today, at 42 years old, he is married and a father, maintaining a youthful air and the same good humor. Badger has become a symbol of a lost youth, and Matt is remembered with affection for this unique role. Kristen Ritter, Jane Margolis. Kristen gave life to Jane, Jesse's girlfriend, whose tragic death was one of the most shocking points of the series. Her performance was delicate, intense, and unforgettable. After Breaking Bad, Kristen starred in the Marvel series Jessica Jones, further strengthening her image as a strong and complex main figure. In addition, she is a writer and advocate for women's issues. At 42 years old, she continues to shine, with a striking style and a career full of projects. Jane was a hard blow in the story, and Kristen established herself as a symbol of persistence off-screen. Emily Rios, Andrea Cantillo. Emily played Andrea, a single mother who got involved with Jesse, whose brutal death was one of the most cruel and surprising of the series. Her sensitive and genuine delivery moved the audience. Afterwards, she worked in The Bridge, Snowfall, True Detective, and other dramatic series. At 35 years old, she continues with the same serenity and strong presence, choosing roles with greater social content. Andrea symbolized the innocence run over by the universe of crime, and Emily brought an unforgettable intensity. Jessica Hecht, Gretchen Schwartz. Jessica was Gretchen, Walter's former partner and co-founder of Grey Matter, representing the past that he never overcame. Her short participation was fundamental for us to understand Walt's resentment and pride. Jessica has an extensive career in theater and television, with roles in Friends, Special, The Boys, and other award-winning productions. At 58 years old, she remains very active and is praised for her versatility. Gretchen embodied the what if in Walter's trajectory, and Jessica shone with few lines. Adam Godley, Elliot Schwartz. Adam played Elliot, Walter's former partner at Grey Matter. His sophisticated and successful posture contrasted with Walter's resentment, being essential to deepen the protagonist's past. After the series, Adam appeared in The Umbrella Academy, Breaking News in Yuba County, and Lodge 49, in addition to works in theater. At 60 years old, he maintains a refined and discreet image. Elliot was subtle, but indispensable to highlight Heisenberg's wounded pride. Caleb Landry Jones. Lewis. Caleb. Lewis. Caleb played Lewis, Walter Jr., as close friend, in brief scenes showcasing Walt's son's school routine. Despite his limited role, he provided a contrast to the White family's dark spiral. After the series, Caleb has excelled in independent films and major titles like Get Out, X-Men, First Class, and Neutrum, receiving international awards. Today, at 34, he has an eccentric style, with long red hair and a penetrating gaze. He is recognized for his intensity in psychological and unconventional roles. Kevin Rankin. Kenny. Kevin played Kenny, a trusted member of Jack Welker's crew, responsible for some of the most brutal scenes in the series' conclusion. He conveyed coldness and method in every appearance. After Breaking Bad, he appeared in Justified, Unforgettable, Goliath, and other productions, playing intense characters. At 48, he retained strong features and a striking countenance. Kenny was a tough villain, and Kevin portrayed him with terrifying realism. Michael Bowen. Jack Welker. Michael brought to life Jack Welker, the leader of the neo-Nazi group that killed Hank and held Jesse captive. His performance created one of the most repulsive antagonists on TV, full of cruelty and twisted charisma. After Breaking Bad, Michael worked on Lost, Kill Bill, Magnolia, and various other productions. At 71, he appears noticeably aged but still imposing. Away from the cameras, he is reserved. Jack became the face of extreme evil in the series, and Bowen delivered it all masterfully. Robert Forster. Ed, the Disappearer. Robert played Ed, the Disappearer, responsible for making characters vanish and securing new identities. He appeared in the final episodes and was crucial in El Camino. With an extensive career in film, Robert was revered for his elegant and calm demeanor. Sadly, he passed away in 2019, around the release of El Camino. His death saddened the entire artistic community. At 78, he left behind a legacy of class, talent, and integrity. Ed became known as the last resort, and Forster as a quiet giant. Danny Trejo. Tortuga. Danny Trejo embodied Tortuga, the cartel informant whose cruel death was immortalized with his head on an explosive turtle. Despite his brief appearance, his impact was devastating. Outside the Breaking Bad universe, Danny is a legendary figure in action films and acts in countless productions per year. He is also a businessman, owning a restaurant in Los Angeles. At 80, he remains strong, active, and full of vitality. With his unmistakable face and a generous heart, Danny Trejo is an icon of resilience, and Tortuga has become mythological in pop culture. Each face in this cast carries a narrative. Some we saw on screen. Others, time has revealed in silence. And perhaps that is the great legacy of Breaking Bad. Not only to entertain us, but to remember that everyone faces battles, even after the last scene is filmed. Which change surprised you the most? Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to know. And if this video touched you or brought back memories of who you were at the time, share it with someone who also intensely lived this story. Because in the end, the saga lives on whenever we look back.